Okay, I think it's recording. We're going to make sure that the dog doesn't mess with it. Give me a second. There we go. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. This is Mike, and this is Mike Dell's World Mobile. So, just had lunch with the beagle, Benny. Went to Burger King. It was not a great experience, but not bad. And he had his plain hamburger. He doesn't get that very often, but once in a while I'll take him with me to lunch. And the subject I have for today is taking the long way. So Burger King is along US 31, along the bay. And there's just a quick 3 miles maybe, something like that, between my house and there. And that's the way we go to get there. But going home, I always like to take the long way. And I do that a lot of times. If I'm going out to my mom's, I'll go one way going out, another way coming home. There's more than one way to get there, obviously. And I don't know how noisy this is. Got Benny got his head out the window. It's kind of a nice day. It's 55 degrees and sunny. And I'm driving up 5 Mile Road, of all places. Let me pull off here because I don't want to go really fast, and I've got a guy right on my butt, which is kind of normal. So let me get over here. There we go. Get back on the road. So yeah, I'm going up 5 Mile, which is the long way. I live on 3 Mile. And 5 Mile, 4 Mile, and 3 Mile Road all intersect with a road called Hammond Road. And anyway, I like to go up this way. It's a really steep hill, not steep, but it's a hill. There's a ridge, and I just sort of like to go up there. I'm going to close that window while he's not got his head stuck out it. There we go. That ought to quiet it down a little. And I'm probably going to do a little post-processing anyway, so we'll see how much of the ambiance comes through, or even if this recording works at all. And so, driving along here, it's through the woods and uphill. Might go up 500 feet, 400 feet, something like that. Not too much. Like I said, we're kind of near the airport, so I don't ever feel like I'm getting too close to the ground when I'm coming in this direction. So it's not like a huge rise in maybe, I think it's 300 to 400 feet is the total rise, but it's a nice hill. And it's all, heavy wooded, and we're a little past peak here as far as fall colors, although there's still a fair amount of leaves on the trees, and they are a tad colorful, mostly shades of brown and yellow. Not any reds left. I think our peak color was last weekend, or maybe the weekend before. It wasn't a spectacular year, but again, like I said, I like to take the long way home, especially lunch break. Not much going on. Work from home. Usually I just go in the kitchen and make something, but when I do go, I like to take the long way. Same thing, like I said, going other places. When you really know a town, there's multiple ways of getting to everywhere, and depending on traffic and all that, I try to stay off the main drag, mostly. We're really going to take the long way. In fact, we're going to probably do a little backtracking here. I'm coming up to, I think it's called High Lake Road. I don't even remember. High Lake Road. Hammond and High Lake. There's a really weird intersection here, but not too bad. But this whole area out here is called the Forest Lakes area, I think. I don't know. I'll know when I see the sign. But, or, yeah, something like that. Dog's whining because he thinks we're going somewhere important. But this whole area, you know, there's Spider Lake, Arbutus Lake, all kinds of lakes and woods, and it's really a neat area to drive slowly in. My family, my uncle had a place out here back in the 70s in the woods, and the house is still there, and they drive by it once in a while, and you know, it's kind of a neat area. Again, it's nice and sunny today, you know, a few wispy clouds, it's at 55 degrees. Dog's whining because I don't have his window open. I'll open it up when we get into the woods. Oh, and of course, he's setting off the seatbelt thing now. Newfangled vehicles. I'm sure I told you about it, but I inherited my dad's pickup truck, which was a 2020 Toyota Tundra. And it's got a lot more gizmos and gadgets than I'm used to. There we go. Benny got off the seat. But and it's got a lot of gizmos and gadgets, and one of the things, it's got it'll disable the airbags in the front seat if not a heavy item there. So whenever I take the dog, I got to remember to clip the seat belt. Otherwise, the seatbelt warning will go off. And sometimes when he gets on there, he's like right on the cusp. Oops, let me let his window down. We're in the slow area now. Whoa, sorry, bud. Anyway, Benny's got his head out the window, and I'm gonna go just cruise around a little bit here. Going by a little store, Cortade's Grocery. When I was a little kid, I'd ride with my dad out in we had a VW Beetle, and we'd ride out here, and he'd always, one of my treats was stopping at Cortade's for a yellow pop. That's what I called it, a yellow pop. Come to find out, it was probably mellow yellow. Mountain Dew existed, but it was in green bottles, so I couldn't tell what color it was. But I think it was mellow yellow or some other, maybe Faygo yellow pop. We'd always stop at Cortade's on the way back from my uncle's place, or sometimes on the way to my uncle's place. And from our house, this was quite a ride because we had to come, all the way across Traverse City and then out a little further than that to this side. So I didn't see the sign. Yeah, I think it's called Forest Lakes area. Main feature out here is all the little lakes, and there's Spider Lake, which is kind of if you look at it from the air, it's a spider shaped. It's got a lot of little tentacles and bays and coves and whatever, and it's kind of spread all over the place. And then there's Arbutus Lake that's very similar, and all these roads kind of twist and turn through the woods. Think of hardwood forest and some pine trees, and then going close to all these little coves and whatnot on the Spider Lake. And then like I said, Arbutus Lake is similarly shaped, although a little bigger. And it's just a really cool place to just take a nice little ride. I haven't done one of these sound-seeing tour things in a while, so I'm way out of practice. It's funny, I was playing with this recorder this morning, trying to figure out, does it still work? Does it have batteries? Do I need to change the batteries? Do I need to do any of this stuff? And just how to work it. And I pulled the card on it and looked at it. And the last time I recorded anything on this was in 2020. So that's how long it's been since I've done a either mobile or walking podcast. And I really don't know how well this microphone is working. It, let's see, I guess I can look at the meters. It seems all right. I guess if I crank it up a little bit, did I crank it up or down? I don't know. We'll save it. Audio quality on this may not be as good as other recordings, but who knows? Yeah, and this is going to end up being kind of a long way around to get home because I made the wrong turn and ended up, I think I'm coming up on High Lake Road again. So I made a loop through the woods. That's all right. I got to get back to work anyway here shortly. But just have to remember which way to turn. Oh, this is Supply Road. Okay, cool. Now I know where I'm at. Supply Road's also a kind of a unique drive around here. It goes between here and a little town called South Boardman. And it goes through the woods and through the Boardman River Valley. Well, not really a valley, but the Boardman River area. And then comes out on US 131, which is one of the major highways going into Grand Rapids. So when we head south, we don't usually take Supply. We usually take M113, which is a little further south. And then we join 131 just before it turns into a freeway. But Supply Road is real famous for people that drive high-performance cars, that handle well, and like think of, if you're into car videos on YouTube, the Tail of the Dragon is a famous mountain road in Tennessee that all the high-performance car drivers like to drive the Tail of the Dragon. Well, Boardman or Supply Road going from here to South Boardman is kind of that for here. And when I used to ride motorcycles, it was real popular to ride your motorcycles. It's just a whole bunch of curves through the woods, and it's just a lot of fun to drive. You don't even have to go fast. In fact, it's better not to go fast because you'll end up in the trees. But it's a challenging road. We have another road like this that's become somewhat famous. M22, that's Michigan Highway 22. It goes from Manistee, Michigan to Traverse City, but it goes all the way up and around the Leelanau Peninsula, which if you're looking at the back of your hand, it'd be the pinky finger of Michigan. So it goes way north, and then it comes back 22 miles back to Traverse City on the other side of the peninsula. And that stretch between Manistee and Northport is pretty famous amongst car drivers and motorcyclists and just plain old tourists. It goes up through the Sleeping Bear Dunes, and it's really quite the road. But being a Michigan highway, you would think it would go someplace. Well, yeah, it kind of does. It ends up in Traverse City and Manistee, on either end. But it's really not a lot of traffic on that road trying to get from A to B. It's more of a recreational road or a tourist road that way. And that one kind of made national news a few years ago. And to this day, they have to secure all the signs on it because of it. But there's a local company here, Tourist Trap, selling T-shirts and mugs and stickers and God knows what. But called M22, and they actually got a trademark on the highway sign. I've never heard of that before, and they actually will sue you if your company uses a highway sign as their trademark. So I don't know, I kind of hate that. So I sort of protest the M22 company, but the road's cool. I don't know if you ever watch on YouTube the Haggerty channel, Haggerty Car Insurance. It's a classic car and boat insurance company based here in Traverse. Anyway, Haggerty, they're pretty famous amongst car collectors and whatnot, and Haggerty will do some drives on their YouTube channel along M22. One of the famous ones was they drove a Citroen 2CV, one of those weird little French cars, and that was filmed on M22. That was from a few years ago as well, but anyway, I'm here at 3 Mile in Hammond, here by Roy's General Store. Roy's is kind of an institution around here. They kind of an everything store. They sell tractors, they sell hardware, they sell groceries, gasoline. They work on small engines. They're a Husqvarna dealer. They just sell all sorts of stuff. Good old Roy's. And they have a really good lunch and breakfast buffet. The food's really good. I'll do that sometimes. But I'm just driving down 3 Mile south of my house, and they just opened this part of the road up after rebuilding it. They made it 3 lanes, and it's all fresh asphalt. It's a real pain in the butt when it was when it was closed, but they got it reopened, and of course, there's only 2 seasons in Michigan really, and it's winter and construction. Although fall is my favorite time of the year, and November especially, just because most of the construction is done. The snow hasn't hit just yet. Now, it could happen any day. Sometimes it happens in October. But and the tourists are, for the most part, gone. There was a lot of leafers here up until last weekend. People coming up looking at leaves and doing the fall color tour. So the restaurants were still busy. Oh, stupid light. I swear I get caught at every traffic light there is. That's another reason to take the long way home, is less traffic lights. But, I just was thinking, here I am podcasting while driving. Of course, I got a lavalier mic on. I'm not manipulating my phone or anything like that while I'm doing it. So I'm just sitting here talking. Well, the guy pulled up next to me at the light probably just thinks I'm talking on the phone. 5 years ago or maybe 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been nearly as common. And people would think you're weird sitting here, well, I don't know, I got a dog with me, so could possibly be normal to be sitting here talking to a dog. Anyway, so just going by the approach end of runway 28 at Traverse City Airport. Just crossed the center line. Anyway, the wind here is crazy today. I've been listening to air traffic control, and they're calling winds 20 knots gusting to 30, but it's coming right down the runway. So there are some students out flying in it. But anyway, I wouldn't fly today just because, that's a lot of wind. And, I just as soon fly when the conditions are such that it's better. So, anyway, I'm just about to pull in the driveway here. Of course, there's a traffic light 100 yards up the street from my house, and as is normal, I get caught at it every time. So, anyway, I'm going to probably do some more of these mobile ones. I have a couple of ideas for podcasts, mobile. This Saturday, I'm going to actually possibly record one from the airport. I'll bring my mobile setup and see if anybody wants to be a taker at my EAA group, but who knows? I don't know what the subject is tomorrow, but I will be back tomorrow. Everybody have a good day and catch me later.